Hey guys, welcome back. Chapter 7. This is Sales and Collection Business Processes. So, this chapter is really going to examine the sales and cash collection process. We use a comprehensive example to develop activity and structure models of the process. We also show how the activity model, in conjunction with the business rules, can be used to develop, implement, and monitor control activities. And we show how the structure model can be used to develop a relational database in order to support information processing requirements. The chapter includes a comprehensive exercise in which students can prepare the UML class models and then develop a corresponding Microsoft Access database to prepare specific financial information. Um, but ultimately, the sales and collection process includes business activities related to selling products and services, maintaining customer records, billing customers, and recording payments from customers. It also includes activities necessary to manage accounts receivables, such as aging accounts and authorizing credit. Certainly, the sales and collection process generates accounting transactions to record revenue, accounts receivable, and cash receipts. It also affects the cost of goods sold and inventory for companies that sell merchandise. Exhibit 7.1 will describe typical accounting transactions resulting from the sales and collection process. Sales are typically made in exchange for cash or credit. The transaction may also require a collection of sales tax. So a cash sale would increase cash, a credit sale would increase AR, uh, accounts receivable. So accounts receivable are monies owed to the firm from the sale of products or services. A sale of goods also relates in corresponding recognition of cost of goods sold, uh, expense, and reduction of inventory. When the customer subsequently pays for goods on credit, cash is increased and accounts receivable reduced. So you got to think about that. A lot of times you think, well, hey, I just generated a cash transaction or got an AR on a sale, but there's a cost side to that. It's not just the revenue. You can't just book gross revenue unless you show the product moving out of inventory in as a cost of goods sold. It is now a finished good that was sold. And so now it becomes cost of goods sold. And so you have to remember to recognize that as an expense so that you get your gross profit, which would be your net revenue minus your cost of goods sold, would give you your gross profit. Also, you need to collect your any sales tax payable. Those are not revenue accounts or anything like that. When you get sales tax, it's a liability because you now owe the government. So you need to record that as a liability to the government so that you can clear out the liability and write a check at the end of the month to the government. Now, I used to file sales tax in 13 different states for a company I worked at early on, and and that's a very involved process. You do get a minor amount back. It's sort of like an administrative kind of fee. So the companies can sort of at the end you make a little bit, but it's such a nominal fee. It's really not much. And I've also worked in a place that was behind in their sales tax payments, which were massive fees. So you cannot forget to ever pay your sales tax, which is due on the 15th, the 15th of the month, I believe, and the 20th of the month is your payroll tax. Both of those need to be paid every single time. If you do not pay them, you can get subject to some massive penalties. Now, if you ever walk into a situation like that, I will tell you this. Did a letter writing campaign, explained the situation. I was new to the company, and we did a letter writing campaign, and maybe we had $100,000 of sales tax penalties, and we ended up getting almost 40 to 50% waived. Normally, if you get about 25% waived, that's pretty good. But we documented everything in a timeline of why they weren't filed. We begged for mercy, and they waived a lot of those penalties. Still had a sizable amount we had to pay, but it helped. And so I just little things you have seen along the way. You never know if that might you might fall into a similar situation, but don't forget that you could actually waive it. So um, guys, this is a sales and collection process. Um, hopefully this chapter will be sort of interesting to you because every business exists, if you're for profit, to sell a product or a service. And even if you're a service company, you need to develop a cost of service model. Instead of cost of goods sold, it's the cost of services that you need to figure out. So there's always a costing piece involved when you're trying to analyze a company. You got to know what your costs are. So hopefully this will be an interesting chapter for you. And again, reach out with any questions you may have.